Hello Evolutionaries to another video. And I just want to give you a brief update on everything. So school is almost here, August 12th. I start August 12th. I'm a music teacher. My friend is a music teacher. He starts August 12th. And I know students, teachers, parents are probably excited for the new school year. But my friend's old job is still up to their tricks. How, you might ask? Well, they pretty much got rid of all the administrators there. There's only like one vice principal who was there last year, and the principal is still there. And we all know how bad that principal is. Now, the question I want you guys to really think about is like, what makes you think that those new administrators are going to make a difference? Because the year when my friend was working there, they basically got new administrators, and they didn't even last a year. You know why? There's two reasons. They got fed up about how things were run, which is, understandable, because that school is probably one of the worst schools that I heard about. Or they finally decided that what they were doing is wrong and they left. Or they tried to do something right and the principal fired them, because they didn't focus on the key things that make a school look good. Keyword is look. All the principal wants is the school to look good, no matter whether the students are learning, which is the most important part. The school should not focus on the school looking good, but rather the students learning, because that's the most important thing. If a student learns to go to college and they're ready to be, members of the society, but if the school looks good, the only thing that happens is the principal and administrations keep their job and keep getting their paychecks that they really want. So the basic 3 things that makes a school look good, actually 4 things, is the attendance, if the students come to school, the graduation rates, the state test scores, and then the suspension rates. Now, that school does not want to suspend any student no matter what. The students could borderline punch a teacher and they wouldn't suspend them. You know what they do? They'll say, oh, it didn't happen. Or they just try to, no matter how much the teacher said, they're going to try to do an investigation. And then obviously the kids' friends are going to say, oh yeah, it never happened. Oh, I didn't see nothing. And when it goes to a teacher versus a student, they're automatically going to say, oh, it didn't happen, or inconclusive. Even though, why would a teacher lie? They were borderline not suspend a student if they punch a teacher. I'm 100% sure they would not do that. And they don't want to do that, because if they suspend a student, it makes the school look bad, because they have to report that. And if they keep doing this, then the actual district people, the CEOs and superintendent. The superintendents would have come why is the suspension rate so high? But sometimes they have to be, because these students have to be held accountable. And I know we have to focus on cultural responsive learning, but some of the things they do is not part of their culture. Some of the things they do is just borderline disrespectful and illegal. But the school doesn't see it like that, because if they suspend them, that hurts one of the 4 main things. Now, the second thing, attendance. Now, they really want students to come to school. And the only way they could actually do that is by basically taking away privileges. And this is the only good thing I could say about the school. They really do force the attendance. If you're absent a lot, you can't do extracurricular activity. I'm gonna say how it is, and I'll have to give props for that school for doing that, because attendance, we do want students in our school. So I give you props. That's the only thing you guys did well, keeping the students there. Now, graduation rates is probably the worst thing they ever do, because they falsify grades like crazy. They inflate it. First of all, quick reminder, 43% to pass a class. That's less than half. Plus, they get no penalization, even if that's the word, for any late work. So what gives the student the incentive to do classwork when it's supposed to be due if they could turn it in whenever they want? They'd be like, oh, I could just do this later. Isn't that due? Even if if I had to do like a 10-page paper and I could turn it in at the end of the semester, I'm not going to do it now. So it's not the student's fault why they're not doing it now. It's your policy's fault for not penalizing for late work. Because if they say, oh, I could just turn it in for full credit, it's fine. But if you tell the students, oh, is the assignment due today, but if you guys don't turn it in today, it's half credit. That student said, oh, I don't want no half credit, so I'm going to do the work. But if they do that, some students might turn in late work, and that's going to bring the grades down, and the students are not going to be able to pass. And my teacher personally noticed how when his students were failing, the administration would tell him, oh, what work can he do that could bring it up? Which is fine. But they asked like work all the way back to the very first semester. Like, why didn't the student do that? And then the student does it, and it automatically brings their grade up. And then they kind of tell us if they could do an assignment, like a random assignment. Like if they pass the most recent test, you should like exempt all the other work from that unit. Like, how does that make sense? You didn't do the work. If that was true, then all they have to do is just do the test and not do any of the classwork. And that's pretty much what they do. They just sit in class and be like, oh, the administration is gonna let me pass my class, so I don't even have to do any work here. I'm just gonna sit here and chill and not do anything. Plus, like, if you get mad at me or if you trying to tell me to do my work, I don't have to do anything anyway, because what's the worst gonna happen? They're not gonna suspend me, right? Or you're gonna call my parents, who cares? Like, I'm not gonna get disciplined. Like, it's not going to be in my record. There's no disciplinary action whatsoever. But so yes, school attendance, they do good. Falsifying graduation rates, you need to fix that, because students need to learn. Suspension rates, you guys refuse to discipline students, which is pretty bad. And then finally, the state test scores. The one thing you guys cannot falsify, and the one thing that you guys are failing so much. So when my teacher friend got fired from there and was let go, he was at the principal's office, and then he saw all the test scores from like the math and the reading. And then at least in the math section, he was able to crunch the numbers from like the 6 to 12, because it's a 6 to 12 school. And surprisingly, only 25% of the students there are of the California state average. That means 75% of the students are below California state average. So how does that make sense that the school has a 100% graduation rate, but only 25% of the students are on California state average? That does not add up at all. Like, anyone can see that the grades are either heavily inflated or falsified. Any teacher you ask there would tell you that the grades are heavily inflated. Now, you could pass the class with a 43%. Like, come on. That's not college ready. Like, you're supposed to be college prep. What are you preparing them? Colleges don't accept work at 43. If anything, colleges take D's, which are like 63%. But even then, you can't get all D's, because then your grade point average goes down. So that's really concerning, that those are the 4 things the administration really care about. And the administration want to hire a team that have the same vision as them. That, oh, we have to boost up these 4 things, you know? But it's not going to work, because no matter what you do, if you're going to sacrifice the student accountability, the falsifying the grades, if you're going to falsify grades, and if you get, what was the third one? It was attendance, graduation rates, no, the state test. You're not going to get the state test scores if you're falsifying grades, because the students aren't learning. And the students aren't learning because you don't hold them accountable for the classroom environment. So you see how the circle is bad. You guys do one thing right, the attendance, but your classroom environment, school culture, and then holding students accountable is affecting the test scores. Because these teachers are asking for help, but when you guys don't have policies in there that they can refer to, it's basically a free-for-all. And you guys are getting rid of these teachers because they're actually trying to teach a student and don't want to give them the grades, you know, don't want to falsify the documents. and it's hurting your paycheck. It's making you look bad because you're running a school that doesn't teach students, but you want to make it seem like it teaches students. So I'm going to show you how they get teachers to work there. They're basically, teachers who work there are basically slaves at that point, because they're generally new teachers who just come straight out of college or just have a bachelor's degree. And then they apply to all these schools, and this school calls them up. Or like, yeah, our starting salary is like $66,000 or something like that. And they look at other districts with someone who just has a bachelor's degree as like $60,000. Like, man, I make $6,000 more if I work in this school. So they just go because of the money. But then they see how bad it is, and they think to themselves, this is not what I became a teacher for. I'm not just gonna falsify my students' grades so they could go through the system and just get them out of here, because we don't care if they succeed or not. You're hurting the city basically, because you're sending these students out not prepared, and then what else are going to be? They're not going to amount to anything basically, because they're not going to be ready for college, and the only jobs they're going to try to just get jobs just to get money, and money isn't everything, you know. Teaching the students is more important. So I'm going to show you how they get teachers in here. Any new teacher watching this, look, because this is your salary schedule. So like I said, these are the salary schedules. Now, if you look at the left, that's the school my old friend used to work at. And then on the right, it's another school district. So the old school district has 4 different like cities that they kind of operate at: the Bay Area, East Palo Alto, Central Valley, and Los Angeles. Now I'm going to focus on the Los Angeles area because that's what the school he worked at. And the school to the right also is a school district in Los Angeles. So if we look at the far right of the right salary schedule, it says YOE, and that's years of employment, and it goes all the way down to 28, which is the max. Now, if you look at the first year and then go all the way to Los Angeles, it says 66,593. So no matter how many degrees a teacher has, if they're a first-year teacher, they don't even need certifications. They don't even need a credential. They're going to make 66,593. Now, if you go to the salary schedule at the right, we go to first year, and they have columns. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 6 columns in Roman numerals. If you go in the first column, which says column 1, all you need is a bachelor's degree, you're going to start out with 62,316. Now, if a teacher, a first-year teacher without a teacher credential, were to apply to these 2 schools and see that they're going to make $4,000 more in that bad school, most likely they're just going to go to that school because they make $4,000 more a year. And I know some teachers who got hired this year are probably in the same position. They do not have the teacher credential and are starting to work there. And I'm telling you, don't work there. Get your teacher credential. It's worth it. Do your student teaching at a school that's actually good. Because when I got my teacher credential, my student teaching was like the best thing, one of the best things in my college journey. And the stuff I learned there really pushed me to the limits to become a good teacher. And every teacher should experience that, or every aspiring teacher should experience that. And I recommend you try to get your teacher credential, do your student teaching, rather than just working with a bachelor's degree. And if you look to the right, they have these columns because districts who have these columns want teachers to be certified, want teachers to, further their career. So they have programs where you could take online classes and get these credits. Now, right now, if I were to apply to these schools, this would be my 3rd year teaching. So if I go to the Los Angeles bracket, I'll only make 71,357, which is still pretty good, but you have to sacrifice a lot because you're basically a slave in that school. And when you have a master's degree and you have a teacher credential, you have more options. So you're not desperate to just work in those bad schools for money. Now, if I were to apply to the one on the right, a master's degree is column 4, and I'm my 3rd year. So I would be at column 4 is 3, so it's 3, and column Roman numeral 4, which is 72,353, which is more than if I worked in that other school. But this district might offer stuff we could get extra credits that beyond master's degree that could bring me up to the higher columns. So if I want to go to column 5 and column 6, for column 5 I need 15 credits. Usually classes are only 3 credits. So I need to take 10 3-credit classes to go up there. And these classes are not that expensive. It's only like $450 for 3 units. So that's like less than $5,000 to make it to the 6th column. And then the 6th column, the max you can make in 24 years is 126,717. So that's the max you can make in the school district to the right. But if you go to the left, if we go in the same year, so the most years you can work on the one on the right is 24. So if you go on the left, if you go to 24, the max you can make is 111,946. So on the other district, you're gonna be making what's 26 minus 11? Like $15,000 more a year. So we already know that in the long run, the one on the left is not good. It might be good when you're first starting out, but you're selling your soul basically, because they prey on desperate teachers. They prey on your desperation because they know that other districts might not hire you without a teacher credential, or that if you do go to that different districts, you're going to be making less starting out. They do not want you to progress your career. They want you to stay there, not get your teacher credential, not get your master's. Stay there and just be content, because that system to the left gives no incentive for getting a master's. So why would you want to get one? And they don't want you to want to get one because they want to keep you there. They want to keep you there, and they want you to follow the rules, because they know if you don't want to follow their rules, if you see something wrong they're doing, they know you have nowhere else to go. And that's why if you work in that district, teachers, you're going to be a slave. So leave, please. Get your teacher credentials, get your master's, further your education, further your career, so you can have better options, because that school is going to torture you basically. So yeah, those are the salaries. Now, one question you might be wondering is, how did that school get so bad? You know, what made this school get so bad? You know why? Because that school doesn't have a union. That's why you teachers, new teachers who work there, if you're going to apply to a different job, make sure it has a union, because unions are run by former teachers, you know, people who are in the classroom, people who know how it is, people who know how the administration can be, how HR could be. And they're going to, like, you know, they have your back. So you need a union to keep the HR and to keep the administration in check, because we know the administration only cares about making the school look good. They don't care about the student learning. They only care about making the school look good. And then the HR is even worse. They only care about the company. Like, they will lie to protect the company, because they know if they admit to something that was done wrong, something that was illegal, they already lost the lawsuit. So they're taught to lie to protect the company. So don't trust HR. And for administrations who don't have a union, don't trust them either, because they have no one to keep them in check. So they could do whatever they want. And they're the bosses of the teachers. So if you don't listen to them and there's no one to keep them in check, they're going to get rid of you. And that's why they made you at will at that school, because they're saying that, oh, we'll have you for as long as we need you. The minute we do not need you, the minute you're causing us problems, you're out. So I know this is a long video, but teachers, new teachers who got hired, new administrators who got hired, at least for the new administrators, please support your teachers. And then for the new teachers there, I don't think they're going to support you. So just leave, please. Get your teacher credentials, get your master's, find different districts. And for the parents, I want to be transparent to you, because you're sending your kids there. And if I was a parent, I wouldn't want to send my student there knowing that they will not be learning anything. Knowing that that district is paying off these teachers, paying off these administrators to be quiet. You know, to be slaves. It's just for the school to look good, not for the students to learn. So I know this is a long video, but thank you for those who stay to the end, and see you in the next one.